Let's finish this up. Well, maybe, I don't know. I feel like I'm at the end of not the whole game, but at this specific stage of the game where you play as Kokoro. But how these visual novels work, the endings are unexpectedly long, with unexpectedly little with clarification on issues too. It's like they're long, but they're not long enough. But anyway, um, so I may not finish this up, but I'm going into this with the attitude of let's finish this up. I have no new theory stuff. The last recording had no new plot revelations. The only thing is that the characters have the same plot revelations as they expect the player to make, as if to kind of if the player hasn't guessed it by now to catch them up. Also, oddly, there were no choices in the entirety of the last playing session, so we're in a bit of a choice drought.
もっとも、もう僕たちには下山できるだけのも体力は残ってないけどね。
But none of us have the strength left to make it down the mountain anyway.
そうですか。
I see. I looked beneath the bed. The compass that was on the shelf should have been moved under here. I took the compass in hand. The door to the shelter cabin faces south. Okay, so we're confirming that is indeed a different direction than the direction that the people that died were going. According to Yogomi, the way down the mountain is to head straight ahead facing south. And since we have a compass, there's no way we would be confused about which direction we're heading in. Unless you suddenly got a lot of friction in your compass. It's baffling that we, who are trying to find a way down the mountain, would be found 1 kilometer east of our current location. Plus, how would we have hiked 1 kilometer in all this snow? Let's see, 1 kilometer is 6/10 of a mile. Is it 0.6 miles? It's approximately. That's not that far for me, although I haven't tried really deep snow. I don't know if there is something at that particular location. But I do know that we were aiming for it when we decided to go there. And you died in the process, which suggests that you shouldn't do it. But then it makes you also curious about what was there. Maybe you think maybe if we should go there earlier, we won't die. It was so we could be rescued. Right now, if it was me, I would do the same thing. To predict what we're going to do next, we just have to listen to our hearts. There's no mistake. The reason we were heading there was so we could be rescued. Well, is this their authors trying to just kind of shut down the speculation of the reader, saying, kind of talking to the fourth wall? Yeah, I know you're thinking that there's something else maybe going there, but let's just clarify for you, just so that we can save you the effort thinking about it. They were going there to try to get rescued, okay? Or is she just wrong? And confidently wrong. Because our biggest goal, our only goal, is to go on living. Then what exactly is there at the place where we were killed by the avalanche? Let's call it Location X, 1 kilometer east of here. Why do we head towards Location X to be rescued? After thinking about it for a bit, I came up with one theory. It's because we haven't confirmed where the crash site is, but it being the crash site is lame. Oh, I finally got a choice. How could there be relief supplies there? Like, if they could, I guess they could, they're in a situation where they could drop supplies but not land. But they couldn't land? Yeah, it would have to be, because if they could land, then they would just be themselves people there, right? They wouldn't just drop supplies and leave. You argue, well, maybe there's another shelter cabin-like facility. Why would there be? Right? If they had more supplies, why don't they just put all the supplies in the shelter cabin? They wouldn't have to make. Then they would have to make people go through work to go get it. So you would think it would just be a second shelter cabin, like an entire cabin, where if you got there, you wouldn't have to do work to go to the real shelter cabin. You could just stay, right? So there would be a second shelter cabin, or they couldn't land, but they could drop. There's a rescue team at location X. Yeah, but the phone wouldn't have worked the first time. Or would it? Because Uni wouldn't have known if there was a first time. This is still kind of going off the whole replication thing, because the Uni in the first time wouldn't have had means of knowing when to call with the phone. But then how would he know the phone would get through at that time if they didn't call at that time on the phone? But this is a different time of the year if there's a replication. So there's no way that they would correlate. There's no that time when the weather would be different the second time because they can't control nature. And this whole solar winds thing is total baloney, but they would be able to control that and make it sync up, right? Unless they program that into the phone. Huh. This is hard. I don't really know. They got through with the phone, though. Something about this makes me want to. For some reason, I have this desire for the answer to be relief supplies at location X. I don't know why, but I think it makes more sense with the plot so far that there's a rescue team at location X because the phone got through, right? So I gotta pick that despite my not wanting to pick that. I don't know why I really want to pick this. I have some strong desire to pick this one. Anyway, pick the one that makes more sense. Is it because there's a rescue team there? No, that's not it. That doesn't make sense. If that were the case, then the rescue team would have perished in the avalanche too. If it's not a rescue team, then...
そうか。
I see it now. Last night... Okay, so maybe it doesn't matter which one you choose. Last night, Yogomi-san and the others said that they ran out of the shelter cabin because they had seen a helicopter. If we could take what they said to be true, someone risked their lives flying a helicopter into Mount Akakura during the blizzard. Knowing that a helicopter can't possibly land safely during a blizzard, and if you think about possible reasons for flying in such dangerous conditions, the answer is clear. The reason that the helicopter risks those conditions is to fly toward a mountain where it can't land. It's to drop off rescue supplies. Okay, so it doesn't matter which you pick. I guess the strong desire was that I had something that made me know that was right in me. That's probably what the rescue team was thinking. If there were survivors who made it out of the plane crash, then their rations and fuel would be depleted by now. If things went on like that, the survivors would perish. But because of the violent blizzard, the rescue team couldn't do anything. Still, even then, they couldn't abandon those waiting to be rescued. That's why they risked their lives flying the helicopter. By dropping rescue supplies from the air, the survivors could hold on just a bit longer. Then, when the blizzard subsides, the rescue team could then be dispatched. But it was simply bad luck. The blizzard was just too strong. Because of that, they couldn't drop the supplies near the shelter cabin. So, believing that the supplies would be noticed by the survivors, they made the drop at location X. The hypothesis seems to fit. At 6:53 on the 17th, we headed toward location X. There's no mistake, we went there for the same reason that I had just concluded was the case. We deduced that the drop point is 1 kilometer to the east of the cabin, based on the direction the helicopter was flying in. Even though I didn't see the helicopter yesterday, the helicopter most likely passed to the east. If that's why we, in the future, headed towards location X at dawn. And in the end, because of that decision, we were all killed by the avalanche. But it's not the same this time. Thanks to the newspaper article, I reached this hypothesis by midnight. I know that at 6:53 there will be an avalanche 1 kilometer to the east of here. I know at that time we will be killed by the avalanche there. In other words, if we arrive at location X earlier than 6:53, we'll be able to collect the supplies. And without getting killed in the avalanche, we can get a hold of
見
rations.
つけた。
Found it. Newspaper article from the future that we were all scared of. And now I'm able to take advantage of it for our benefit. I was pretty excited by my own deductions. I'm not excited by my own failure to make said deductions, and then the game having to correct me. I felt as if I had fought against fate and won. The flame of hope burned in my chest. I can even feel strength returning to my hands and feet, which up until now could only shiver helplessly. We can do it! We can save ourselves! No, we will save ourselves. I wanted to let Yagomi and the others know about my deductions, but I quickly shut my mouth. The hypothesis I had come up with just now is based on the assumption that the newspaper article is real, and Uni is actually the Uni of the future. Just making them believe those two assumptions would take until dawn. Plus, when I asked Uni whether or not he was the Uni of the future, he became frantic and worked up. If he lost control once again, I could cost him his life this time. Furthermore, if I told them by the time I explained everything and we finally left for location X, it could be dawn already. If that's the case, our fate will turn out exactly like in the newspaper article. So she's going to go alone, isn't she? And then ended up swapped halfway through, and then Satoru is like, what am I doing out here? And rushes back to the cabin, and that doesn't happen. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. A small puff of white breath rose in the air.
Yes!
Okay. Time to do it. Gathering my will, I got to my feet. With everything I've got, I try to push strength back into my weakened hands and legs. My body shivering had grown less pronounced. Perhaps my body is being warmed by the flame of hope. Placing the compass into my coat pocket, I grabbed the flashlight lying beside the stove. Putting on my gloves, I stood at the entrance of the shelter cabin.
どうしたんだ?
What's wrong?
ちょっと出かけてきます。
I'm going out for a bit. I'm going out by myself to look for location X. That would be best for us now.
バカを言うな!
What are you saying? Yogomi, surprised, tried to get up. But with Uni lying listlessly against him, he couldn't quite
どい
make
てく
it.
れ、ユニ!
Move it a bit, Uni. Yogomi tries to stop me as he moves Uni out of the
冬
way.
川さん、やめるんだ!
Fuyukawa-san, but said really fast. Fuka-san! No, do
自
it.
殺行為だ! 外は吹雪だぞ!
It's suicide. There's a blizzard out there. It's true that there's a blizzard outside. Under normal circumstances, going out there would indeed mean certain death. But I'm not like that. I'm going because I want to live. If the size of the god of death is waiting for me there, I'll try to evade it. Even if I have to press on through the blizzard, even if I have to expose myself to danger, I want to save everyone.
すぐに戻ってきます。
I'll be back
みんな
soon.
が生き残れるかもしれない方法を見つけたんです。
I found a way that may help us survive this. Yagomi finally pushed Uni to the side and began making his way towards me. He reached out his hand and tried to grab my
何を言
shoulder.
って... おい!
What are you doing? What are you saying? Hey. It's only 1 kilometer there and back, so it's like 1.2 miles total. Faster than Yagomi could stop me. Absolutely trivial if it's not blizzarding, there isn't deep snow, and you're not 1 day into starvation. Only 1 day into starvation, right? So not terribly depleted, but somewhat. I burst out of the shelter cabin. Even though it was at midnight, somehow I see white. Even though snow is... The reason why snow is white is because it reflects the sun. It's black when night's black. And raced toward the snowfield in the night. Wait. Nagomi's voice rang out behind
待って
me.
いてください。
Please wait for me. I called out through the violent winds that disturbed the snow. It was dark outside. In the darkness and the storm, with the towering peak of the mountain to the east side of the cabin in my sights, I began moving forward. So it's up. Okay, we'll see what the grade is. Man, I got drift noises that are going to make this audio maybe hard to edit, perhaps. Hopefully, though, it's sufficiently, like, my My voice kind of stands out against it even though the volume is high. Cutting through the darkness of the night with the glow of the flashlight, I advanced. The roaring of the wind echoes in my ears, and this is very immersive in that respect. The furious dancing of the snow covers my field of vision. My whole body has already gone numb. Dull pain permeates the skin exposed to open air. I just pushed my way on through the snow, continuing to move forward. The slope wasn't too steep, okay. In any other circumstances, it would be a rather easy climb. But with my strength at its limits like this, it's still quite a tough climb. Preferable to a sheer cliff, though it may be. I resolved myself to think more positively. After trudging up the hill for a while, the ascent suddenly ended. I'm at the summit. Wow, okay. That's odd. I can't see well through the darkness and falling snow, but it's all downhill from here. Yeah, but you have to get the supplies and come back. You have to go back up again. From the shelter cabin, it was 1 kilometer east. That's what the newspaper article said. I checked the compass. This was the right direction. Yeah, but if the supplies aren't very big, you might not see them if you're like a few feet off. And then if they are really big, how are you going to get them back to the shelter cabin? It might be bundled in such a way it's hard to disassemble it. Like, I've experienced that kind of thing. Like, it's like on a pallet of scraps and stuff. I mustered my resolve to began the descent. Channeled my inner Kokoro. Halfway down the slope, doubts began to cloud my mind. Are the actions I'm taking the right ones? I thought that by going to location X, well before the time written in the newspaper, I could avoid the tragedy to come. But there is a but, and that is that the landslide was triggered by your movement, which you are doing. Was heading to location X a bad idea to begin with? By going there, am I just going to make what the newspaper foretold a reality? Would it have been better for me to stay away from location X? No, that's wrong! That's definitely wrong. I'm trying to set right what once went wrong. I'm trying to change fate. I'm trying to sever the chains of this tragedy. I really believed it. I shook my head back and forth repeatedly as though to throw off my anxiety. It'll be alright. We'll definitely survive. After descending for a while, I got below the tree line. I began to see sparse trees. Beyond the trees, deep darkness spread out like a bottomless hole. You wouldn't think the helicopter would land in the trees, drop in the trees, though. When I used the flashlight to try and illuminate the tree the way forward, the light made the snow cling to the trees glitter eerily. I was scared. The earlier anxiety visited me again. An accursed history. A fated death. But we will be saved. There's no way you would have heard that voice line over the wind. I'm not going to suppress it too far though. I'm just going to normalize it to minus 23 dB. So, whatever that does. We will survive. I stepped forward once more. You will hear that voice line, though. That went to max volume. The snow was thick. Even taking a single step was difficult. In places where the snow was deeper, I stepped in and was buried up to my thighs. If I stopped concentrating for even a second, I'm afraid I'm going to slip. Well, if you're buried up to your thighs, how exactly do you slip? But as I advanced with determination, I found an easier way to proceed. If you move your legs after pressing the snow with your entire body, you can walk faster. Come to think of it, when we first went to the crash site, I think Yomogi walked like this as well. Is this the so-called rustling? Using my flashlight, I illuminated the watch on my wrist. It was a little past 1 o'clock. The walking speed of a normal human is around 4 kilometers per hour. That's about right, yes. In my case, my state of depleted stamina has me walking at roughly a quarter that speed. To walk about 1 kilometer east, I'd have to push on for 1 hour straight. Just thinking about it made me want to faint. My strength continued to drop. My limbs are sluggish, heavy like logs. Moreover, sometimes I'm assailed by a strong vertigo. If I crouch down, I feel like I won't be able to get back up again. If I stop moving, the place where I stand will become my grave.
負けないよ。
I won't
負
lose.
けてなんかやるもんか。
Like hell, I let myself be defeated. Cutting through the darkness of the snowstorm with the light of the flashlight, trying to mute the voice of terror within my mind, I advanced through the snow. Was it around 30 minutes after that? I was too tired. I crouched down on the spot. The relatableness. Me at altitude. My remaining strength was nearly gone. Not that I have any spare energy to keep walking. But even if I do reach location X by some miracle, will I still have the energy to go back? That's the question I was asking. Besides, I still hesitated. Should I head to location X? The world given birth to my actions. Will it be a heaven overflowing with light? Or a hell engulfed in darkness? Or just nothing? Can I repaint history? Or will I merely repeat it? Which is it? What awaits me on the path ahead? Thoughts of my own strength, now at its very limits, cross my mind together with a tinge of anxiety. What should I do? Should I retrace my steps? If I go now, I can still make it. Somehow I knew that. You know me, just keep going, trying to find Hermit. Try to find the Temple of Peace. Try to find...
ダメよ。
No,
ここで弱気になったらダメ。
I can't get discouraged here.
最後のチャンスなんだから。
This is my last chance. Desperately recharged my flagging spirit. Okay. And I know that we're supposed to be flagging, but that's a typo. And pushed my way through the snow. Fortunately, you don't have flags. If you get that reference. A step. A step. Another step. I steadily advance. Thanks to the uninterrupted downward slope, it was easy to move my feet. But conversely, I feared I would slip at any moment. With every step I take forward, the accumulating snow hardens and falls in. If I make one wrong move, I'm dead. Clinging onto the trunks of the trees, I carefully descended the mountain. Have faith in the hope that will live until I reach it. That I'll live until I reach it. Before I realized it, panting, I began to mutter in
もし
delirium.
も神様がいるなら
If there is a God,
どうかお願いです。
somehow, please,
助けてくれなんて言いません。
I won't ask you to save me. It's okay to ask God to do things, though.
だけどお願いです。
But please,
見守っていてください。
please watch over me. What's kind of vapid? Watch you die? Please just watch me as I die. God's gonna do that anyway. Doesn't matter.
私頑張りますから
I'll do my
み
best
んなで助かるために
to save everyone.
頑張りますから
I'll do my best. So,
だから
it's like if you think about it, you didn't have a choice not to do that, to start this process. No matter what, you were going to start hiking out there to go to where you thought there was going to be supplies. So, your options were to start the process and then go back and not complete the process, was very anticlimactic and unusual writing, or to try to complete the process you started. I am neither an atheist nor a person who actively believes in God. But now I couldn't help but say those words aloud. The things I've gotten involved with, both at the shelter cabin and in Svea, made my head spin. Well, if you can't body swap, that would be like definitive proof of the supernatural. Anyway, in my mind, almost like a divine possession, the idea had arisen that all of this was due to the machinations of God. If there is someone watching my struggles from above, I wanted to say, I'll fight. An unbreakable resolution, I want to fight. So it's not that I'm asking you to please hold out a helping hand, but just please be kind enough to watch over me. But I knew God was cruel. A determined fate. The Cloud Kingdom. An hour had passed since I'd started walking. By my own estimation, I'd walked over 1 kilometer. Suddenly, the grove of trees came to an end. A small open area appeared in front of me. It's too dark to see from here, but it seems that the ridge gets steeper from here. The avalanche probably originated on the mountain's peak. According to the newspaper from the future, we were killed by the avalanche at this spot. However, there is still time before the occurrence of the
救援物
avalanche.
資はどこにあるの？
Where are the emergency supplies? My vision was poor due to the snowstorm, and it being night. I used the flashlight to illuminate my surroundings as I frantically searched for emergency supplies. Okay, I don't see them. They must have been dropped using a parachute. I'm sure they'd have used colors that would help it stand out. I searched with all my might. But, well, there's a tendency to... So, your rod cells are more sensitive than your cone cells. So I've been in situations where it's very dark, and my eyes figure out a way to dilate the pupils enough that I can get enough light in from my rod cells to clearly delineate things, but not the cones. So you end up seeing in grayscale.
ない。
So even if something's like orange, it's still like gray. They're not here.
救援物資なんてどこにもない。
The emergency supplies, they're not here. Completely aghast, I sank to my knees. Was there an error in my reasoning? Or had it been not a reason, but merely delusion from the start?
それじゃ
Then,
どうして未来の私たちはこんな場所へ来たの？
imagine you got body swapped here, and Satoru had no idea which direction you walked from the shelter cabin, and therefore wouldn't know how to get back. Do you consider that idea?
どうしてよ。
Why? Why? I didn't know. I'm waiting for that Machina to happen. Oh, and then I saw them suddenly, even though I thought I didn't see them before. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I was looking. I didn't know anything. Only the reality that there was nothing at this location X was thrust before me. God is so cruel. Have you considered my servant Kokoro? I thought it from the bottom of my heart. He gave me hope and then snatched it away again mercilessly. Bit by bit, it began to snow harder. If I stay in one place like this, I'll die. I gotta search a bit longer. I'm gonna do this again, and if I die again, I die again. No,
ダメだよ。
I can't.
諦めちゃダメ。
I can't give up. There is no way I could just turn back when I finally found the resolve to come here, facing death every step of the way. If I go back now, sooner or later, I'll probably just die. In that case, no matter what danger I have to face, it would be better to search for the emergency supplies. I needed to take that gamble if it could raise our chances of survival even the slightest bit. I stood up. I walked into the grove with my flashlight in hand. Maybe they were caught in a tree? Or maybe they got buried by the snow. Carefully combing the area, I searched for the emergency supplies. The blowing snow and wind began to increase in force. My vision was gradually going
ど
white.
こにあ
Where are they?
るの？どこにあるのよ。
Where are they? I continued to push my way through the snow, feeling as if I was about to cry. I had been at it for an hour when I suddenly heard a
Oi!
voice.
冬川さん
Hey, Fuyukawa-san. Yogomi's voice? But what was he doing here? Thinking it just an auditory hallucination, I looked around
冬
frightened.
川さん
Fuyukawa-san. No, it wasn't a hallucination. I'm sure I heard Yogomi's voice.
よもぎさん、いるんですか？
Yogomi-san, are you there? My vision began obscured by a veil of snow. I relied on the light from my flashlight to search for Yogomi. Suddenly, he appeared from within the snowstorm. Staggering, he walked over to meet me.
よもぎさん、
Yomogi-san,
よかった見つかって
thank goodness I found you.
どうしてここへ？
Why are you
君
here?
を連れ戻しに来たんだ
I'm here to bring you back.
夜の山に出るなんて自殺行為だからな
It's suicidal to go out into the mountains at night.
足跡を追ってきたんだがいろいろあって遅くなった
I was following your footprints, but some things happened that slowed me down. Yogomi forced his whiskery face like a smile.
さあ避難小屋へ戻るんだ
Let's return to the shelter
吹
cabin.
雪がこれ以上強くならないうち
For the snowstorm gets strong. And then he collapses. In the midst of laughing, he suddenly dropped to the snowy ground. Eh?
よもぎさん、どうしたんですか？
Yogomi-san, what's wrong? As I helped Yogomi up, I gulped. There was a deep laceration in his leg. When I looked closely, I saw traces of blood on the snow where he had stood. As if telling me not to worry, Yogomi waved his
ちょっと
hand.
ドジっちゃってさ君の足跡を見失って
I messed up a bit, losing sight of your
探
footprints.
しているうちに滑落しちまった
I slipped while searching for them
運
again.
悪く枝が刺さってね
And as my bad luck would have it, there was a branch that was sticking out.
プロ失格だな
I'm not qualified as a pro. His face distorted in pain. The wound was fairly
私
deep.
のせいですね。
It's my fault, isn't it?
私が勝手に小屋を飛び出したりするから。
Because I selfishly left the cabin on my
ご
own.
めんなさい。
I'm
ご
sorry.
めんなさい。
I'm sorry. I felt like I was about to start crying from my own stupidity. Not only did I not find the emergency supplies, but because of me, Yogomi had been injured as
気
well.
にするなよ
Don't worry about it. But
さあ早く小屋へ帰るんだ
let's go back to the
吹
cabin
雪が強くなる前に
before the snowstorm gets even
体
stronger.
力は少しでも残っているうちに
While you still have even a little strength remaining. Yogomi's eyes stared into mine, full of strong determination.
君一人で
Alone.
一人でって。
Alone?
よもぎさんはどうするんですか？
What are you going to do, Yogomi-san? Yomogi-san?
僕は足手まといになる
I'll only slow you down.
置いていけ
That's why you need to leave me.
そん
No
な
way.
ことできません。
There's no way I could do that.
行くんだ
Just go. Yogomi yelled in a voice powerful enough to make me doubt that he was wounded at all. I flinched reflexively,
僕
faltering.
と一緒じゃ助からない
If you stay with me, you won't be
一人
safe.
で行くんだ
Go back
吹
alone.
雪にあっても道を失わないように木にナイフで傷をつけてやる
I made gashes in the trees on the way here, just in case I lost my
そ
way.
の後とコンパスを使えば無事に帰れるはずだ
If you use those marks and a compass, you should be able to return safely.
だから早く
So hurry up. I shook my head like a spoiled child.
嫌です。
I
わがま
refuse.
ま言ってる場合か
Now's not the time to act
なん
selfishly.
と言われても嫌です。
I'll refuse no matter what you
よも
say.
ぎさんを置いてはいけません。
I won't leave you behind, Yogomi-san.
私のせいでよもぎさんが死んじゃうなんて。
For Yomogi-san to die because of
そんな
me.
の耐えられない。
There's no way I'd be able to bear that. Yomogi looked
頼
troubled.
むよ言うことを聞いてくれ
Please listen to what I'm
何
saying.
も僕を見殺しにしろと言ってるわけじゃない。
It's not like I'm telling you to leave me to die.
僕も死にたくはないさ。
I don't want to die
雪
either.
山ではよくあることなんだ。
It happens often in the mountains.
怪我人は雪道にビバークさせて置いていく。
If someone's injured, they make a cave in the snow or set up a bivouac for them and leave them there.
そして救助隊にこの場所を伝えてくれればいいんだ。
And then you can just tell the rescue team about this place when they
全
arrive.
滅しないための知恵だよ。
It's a little know-how that can save us from all getting wiped out.
でも
But I look at Yomogi's leg. The bleeding seemed to have stopped for the most part, but a trickle of blood continued to ooze out. Even if I could tell that he wouldn't make it until even I could tell he wouldn't make it until morning if left here alone. And on top of that, if I left him here, Yomogi would get caught up in the avalanche. Today at 6:53 a.m. The avalanche will occur. I placed my hand on Yogomi's side and tried to help him stand.
冬川さん、
Fuyukawa-san,
連れて行きます。一緒に帰りましょう。
I'm taking you with me. Let's go back
何
together.
と言ったらわかるんだ。
How many times must I say it before you understand?
何度言われてもわかりません。
I won't, no matter how many times you say
よ
it.
もぎさんの言う方法が正しいのかもしれないけど、
You might be
でも
right,
私にはできない。
but I just can't
で
do
き
it.
るわけない。
There's no way I could. No matter what, I couldn't just leave him out here after getting him involved in my reckless
よ
actions.
もぎさんが一緒に行ってくれないなら、
If you don't come with me, Yomogi-san,
私もここに残ります。
then I'll just stay here as well.
冬川さん、
Fuyukawa-san. Putting strength into my unsteady legs, I tried to help Yomogi stand up. However, my knees gave out instantly, causing me to stumble. I have no power to put into them.
平気です。これくらい。
It's fine. This much is no problem. I slapped my shaking knees repeatedly. Please, do what I tell you. I gritted my teeth once again, and once again helped Yomogi to his feet, wiping away my tears.
行きましょう。ユニたちも心配してます。
Let's go. Uni and Mayuzumi must be very worried as well. I said that to him as brightly as I could. Yomogi shook his head in resignation and leaned against me. I passed him the flashlight. I supported Yomogi as he shone the flashlight forward, and together we advanced in the snowstorm. Helping the injured Yomogi walk was harder than I had imagined. It was fine when we were on level ground, but once we reached a sloping hill, it became hard to continue forward. Even so, I supported Yomogi with all my strength and began climbing. Relying on the trail markings that Yomogi had made, we pushed up the hill at a crawl.
冬川さん、やっぱり。
Fuyukawa-san, as I thought,
ダメ。ダ
it's...
メです。
No, no way. A wave of fatigue washed over me, and I was struck with a sudden vertigo. It was difficult to move my arms and legs. Yomogi's weight against my shoulder felt heavy with each step I took. The snowstorm was getting even stronger. My vision began to close as well. Wanting to confirm it with my compass, I reached a hand into my pocket. At that moment, the snow under my feet collapsed. My balance lost, we tumbled into the snow. My body rocked as though I had been caught and shaken hard by a giant. I screamed, but even that sound was absorbed by the snow. I fell down the slope of the snow-covered hill. Buried in the snow, I slowly began to lose consciousness. On. I heard a voice from somewhere. Corone? Is that Uni's voice? Am I already dead? Is this just a dream?
Kokoro!
Corone? I slowly opened my eyes, feeling something shining intensely upon me. From within the snowstorm, a strong light was shining down on me.
Kokoro!
Kokoro. Uni was standing right there in front of me. His clothes were covered in
よかっ
snow.
た。生きてたよ。
Thank goodness you're alive. Yeah, but she would have been frostbitten to oblivion.
心。
Kokoro. Tears quickly started to well up in those perfect round eyes.
ユニがここに
Why are you here, Uni? The one who answered wasn't Uni, but someone
あんた
else.
たちだけで下山しようって魂胆だったんでしょ。
You guys were planning on climbing down the mountain by yourselves, weren't you?
前泉さん
Mayuzumi
出し
san.
抜こうったってそうはいかないわよ。
You think you can fool me? You've got another thing coming. So her lips that had turned purple and trembling with cold, Mayuzumi ground out her complaints.
まあ私たちが追ってこられるように印をつけてた点は褒めてやってもいいけどね。
Well, I suppose I have to congratulate you for being smart enough to make those marks for us to follow.
そんなつもりじゃ
That wasn't. I tried to raise my body, but at this instant, a violent surge of pain ran through my right leg.
動いちゃダメ骨が折れてるみたいなんだ
Let's see here. Which leg? The right leg was. Right, that's the correct leg. Don't move it. It looks like the bone is broken. I squeezed my eyes for a while and tried to endure it, but
そうだよもぎさんは
that's right. Where's Yomugi-san?
あんたの隣で仲良く寝てたわ。
He's sleeping
気
all
を失
cozy.
ってるみたい。
He's sleeping all cozy right next to you. He looks like he's lost consciousness.
ひょっとしたらこのままじゃやばいかも。
This might actually
氷みたいに冷たいから。
This might actually be pretty bad. His body's as cold as ice. Mayuzumi's shoulders slumped and a small sigh escaped her. This might be her way of showing that she's worried. Yomogi was sleeping beside me. His face was as pale as that of a corpse. The wound on his leg had completely frozen
よ
over.
もぎさん
Yomogi-san. Still shivering, Mayuzumi opened her mouth.
でここからどうやって下山すればいいの？
And how do we get down the mountain from here?
そのつもりだったんでしょ。
That's what you came here to do, right?
違うんです下山するならこっちじゃなくて
That's not it. If we wanted to go down the mountain, it isn't in this direction. I suddenly noticed. The night sky was getting brighter. Dawn was near. I looked at my watch. The hands
6時
pointed to 6:53.
53分
6:53. Eh? My vision blurred. The ground that had been supporting me disappeared. Zero gravity. No, this is an earthquake. An unbelievably huge vibration. I felt almost as if heaven and earth were becoming inverted. I can't stand up. It took everything I had just to cling to the surface of the earth. It was enough to make me wonder if the entire world would break apart. But before long, it settled as if disappearing. The surroundings quieted down as if nothing had happened. No, to be more accurate, the sound of the snowstorm continued as before, but to me it felt like all other sounds had been swallowed by the earth. In a daze, I sat there petrified. And then, the time came.
逃げて2人とも逃げて
Run away, you two. Get away from here.
何言ってんのよ。
What are you saying?
雪崩が来る
An avalanche is coming.
は？
What?
ココロン
Kokoro! Uni tried to lift me up. I looked in the direction of the ridge. White smoke was approaching with raging force. Uni, run! I pushed Uni in the direction of the grove of trees, and at the same time I was swallowed by a huge wave of snow.
ココロ
The moment it hit me, I saw it. Uni had fallen into the shadow of a large tree. As I was blown away by the enormous impact, I prayed for Uni to be safe. Okay. See how many of the CGs I got through. 4 remaining. Okay, and these are all blank. Okay, this cinematic here is the new one, I think, with the avalanche. No. This one is. This one here. This one is. Yes, this one has a plane. This one up here has the plane in it. This one is the avalanche. Not the endings yet. Scenes. Determined Fate was at 92%. Wow. Promised Land is only at 22%. And that's the 69th scene out of 130 something, right? Oh, only 150. Well, yeah, it's a lot of scenes. Yeah, and then let's see what they named that ending. Location X Avalanche End. Okay, let's do variations on that and see how far I have to go back. So, going to load the scene,
もっ
yes.
ともう僕たちには下山できるだけの体力は残ってないけどね。
And then,
そうですか。
again, I don't know how to skip. I'm going to pick the same one even though it's wrong. I don't think it's going to matter though. We're going to go back and do the permutation, through all the combinations or permutations or whatever, tree branches. I'm going to keep going.
ダメよ。
And now I'm going to hit turn back instead of search a bit longer. So at Determined Fate, this scene, I believe, always ends badly, though. I decided to turn back, because it's called a Determined Fate, right? I decided to turn back. I felt that I should return while I could still move. My weak heart whispered to me, "You've already given it everything you are got? Just get some rest. Once you do, you'll feel a lot more relaxed." Even standing up was painful. If I fell here, I'd probably fall asleep and die. I was sure my body would freeze, and then I'd probably be preserved beautifully in that form until spring came. I was tempted to just throw myself down onto the beautiful snow and go to sleep. But I quickly shook my head to drive away that sweet temptation and quickly stood back up. I can't die here. I was worried that Yuni and Yomogi came back at the shelter cabin. Notice how she's not worried about Mayuzumi at all. If I don't go back, they might come out looking for me. Or not, at least not enough to mention. I don't want to expose them to danger. I took out the compass. It was difficult to focus on the needle because of my shaking hand. I kept my right hand still with my left. I started heading westward. If I had to go back no matter what, to the shelter cabin. Another scene name. The Shadow That Couldn't Live. I walked on with all my might in a snowstorm so bad I couldn't even see as far as my toes. Relying solely on the compass, I just kept going straight ahead. I didn't even have the energy to look at my watch. My vision was blurred, my thoughts vague. I gradually stopped feeling cold, and that was the scariest thing of all. I heard that when I can't take the cold anymore, I'll start to hallucinate. The snow will feel unbearably hot, making me take off my clothes. Then I'll collapse half crazed on the snow and die. As I imagined that sort of end, a chill ran down my spine. The slope ended before long as I finally reached the top of the hill. Just a little more. When I reach the bottom of this hill, I'll be able to see the shelter cabin. When I confirmed the way back with the compass, I accidentally stepped into a sunken place in the snow. At that instant, the snow collapsed under my feet. I lost my balance and tumbled into the snow. My body rocked as though I had been caught and shaken hard by a giant. I screamed, but even that sound was absorbed by the snow. I fell down the slope of the snow-covered hill. I stayed buried in the snow for quite a while. The snow felt warm. I wanted to just go to sleep like this, but brightness woke me. The flashlight I gripped tightly in my hand was shining on my face. It was a miracle I hadn't dropped it. No, it was a miracle that I was still alive at all.
私生きてるの？
I'm still alive. I tried to stand. I staggered, but there was no intense pain. I tried moving my arms and legs slightly.
動く。
They still move? It doesn't seem like I broke any bones. The snow was thick and had acted as a cushion.
小屋へ帰らなくちゃ。
I gotta go back to the cabin. I brushed away the snow and clung to my face. Even my eyelashes and eyebrows were frozen. When I rubbed them with my gloves, grains of ice fell from them. As if guided by some kind of homing instinct, I unconsciously started to walk.
ここどこ？
But where am I? Using the flashlight, I illuminated my surroundings. On the other side of my field of vision, harrowed by the snow, something reflected the light. I saw what looked like a skin-colored
なんだろ
cloth. Oh. What is it?
ひょっとしたら救援物資。
Could it be the rescue supplies? I instinctively ran. It was pretty far from location X, but maybe I got caught by the wind and carried here. I shone the beam of flashlight down on the cloth spread out on the snow. It wasn't the rescue supplies. I was about to say it's me. But you don't wear a ponytail, right? The person who wears a ponytail is perhaps Mayuzumi, although I don't see her from the back ever. A woman I had never seen.
大丈夫ですか？
Are you alright? No, it's dead body, silly. No answer. Pulling on the fingers with my mouth, I took off my gloves. I reached out to touch the back of the prone woman's neck.
冷たい。死んでる。
Cold. She's dead. Was she with us on the plane? Why hasn't the snow covered her? It's not likely, but maybe when I fell down just now, her body was uncovered. I put my gloves back on. I took hold of the flashlight. Straining my eyes, I could see the shadow of the cabin far away.
置いていって。ごめんなさい。
Sorry for leaving you here. I apologized to the corpse of the woman. And at the same time, I thought to myself, I won't end up like her. I mustered my little remaining energy and began walking toward the cabin. I had returned to the shelter cabin.
心
Kokoro. Yuni greeted me with an anxious face and ran up to meet
遅
me.
くなってごめんね。
Sorry, I'm so late. While apologizing to Yuni, I keeled over on the spot. I couldn't so much as move a finger.
心
Kokoro? Yuni wiped the snow off my
そ
body.
のコート脱いで。溶けて体が濡れたら大
Take off that coat, the snow is melting, and if you get wet, it'll be really cold. Really bad. Yeah. I slowly removed the coat with my trembling hands and threw it
何
aside.
か着るもの。
Something for you to put on. Yuni restlessly looked around and called out to Miyazumi, who was curled up on the top bunk
リン
bed.
のコート貸して。
Lin, give me your coat. Miyazumi looked down at him, openly
な
annoyed.
んで
Why?
いいから早く貸せよ。
Yuni, come on, give it to me, quick. At Yuni's unexpected strong tone, Miyazumi looked daunted.
なんで私が
Why do I have to? She reluctantly took off the coat and tossed it over. Yuni draped it over my shoulders. After that, he piled blankets on top of me as well.
寒
It's cold. Miyazumi, having parted with the coat, wrapped herself more tightly in her blankets. Most of the clothing that had shielded us from the cold had gotten wet during the march through the snow the other day. We tried to dry them out inside the cabin, but they froze solid instead. We don't have any other coats. I felt a little apologetic.
火に当たらなきゃダメだよね。
We have to make a fire.
何か燃えるもの。
Something to burn. I can't do anything but shiver. Right now, this little boy seemed more reliable to me than ever before. I felt gratitude for him from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Yuni.
そうだ。
Right. Yuni went down to the basement. He came back up carrying a first aid kit and a box of waterproof matches. So he just burned a bandage? He took out scissors and tape from the kit. And then, God knows what he was thinking, he started cutting up the blankets.
ユニ、何するの？
Yuni, what are you
こ
doing?
の毛布を燃やすんだ。
I'll burn these blankets.
こら、リンも手伝って。
Come on, Lin, come help me.
だからなんで私がそんなこと
That will smell so bad.
どうせお前も一緒に温まるんだろ。手伝ったっていいじゃん。
In any case, you get to warm up too, right? So come on and help. Reacting to the words warm up, Miyazumi got down from the bed. Since she wasn't wearing a coat, she seemed awfully cold.
何すればいいわけめんどくさいことは嫌よ
What do you want me to do? Nothing that'll be a pain in the ass, okay?
僕が裂いた毛布を春巻きみたいにギュッと丸めて。
All those blankets that I cut up
そした
tightly.
ら毛布がほどけないように端をテーピングで留めて。
Then tape them at the ends so that they won't come apart.
なんでそんなこと
Why are you?
聖司が教えてくれたんだ。
Seiji taught me
リ
how.
ンが新聞燃やしてって言った時、
When Lin said we should burn the newspaper,
新聞もね、固く絞れば薪の代わりになるんだって。
you know, newspaper can be used as a replacement for firewood if you roll it up.
一枚だけじゃ無駄だけどさ。
Although it's impossible to do it with just one page, of course.
きっと毛布も同じだよ。ぎゅっと固めれば薪の代わりになる。
It must be the same with the blankets. If you fold them over several times, they can be used just as well. Jeez. Cursing under her breath, she obediently helped him. Their work progressed with astonishing speed. Before my eyes, they managed to roll up a few dozen blanket logs. After Yuni had thrown them in the stove, he headed toward the bed. He held his plush bear, TB, which had been lying there on its side in his arms.
TB 大好きだったよ。
TB, I really liked you. He gazed into the round eyes of the bear and embraced it
ごめん
sorrowfully.
ね。許してね。
Sorry, please forgive me. Right, so there's no way the Sphere stuff could have happened after this because TB existed. Then Yuni raided himself and set fire to the bear.
平
Yuni,
気。黙って見てて。
it's okay, just watch. TB, made of cotton, TB was made of cotton. He quickly caught on fire. Yuni sadly bit his lip. Yuni was burning his treasured toy, which had made it back to him across this frozen land for my sake. I'm sorry. I felt awful. Yuni put the burning toy in the stove. As though it were live coal, the blanket kindling flared up.
さあ、ココロン、火に当たって、体温めて。
Now, Kokoro, stay near the fire. Warm yourself up. For an instant, I recalled that Yomogi told us about hypothermia. If exposed by hypothermia, immediately warm the hands and feet. If somehow calmed myself down and tried to check the state of my body. My condition didn't appear to be as severe as Uni had been last night, which means this shouldn't have turned into hypothermia yet. If so, I better warm my body to prevent frostbite. Yeah. I held my hands out toward the stove while being careful not to touch the fire. My near-frozen fingertips pulsed, and blood gradually began to flow through them again. My continuously shivering body began loosening up. It seemed like it was absorbing the thermal energy. The firewood made from the rolled-up blankets burned slowly at their first flare, warming me. Of course, it goes without saying that Mayuzumi had drawn near the fire with a look of desperation as well.
ありがとう、ユニ。
Thank you, Uni.
無事でよかった。
No problem. I'm glad you're okay. I accepted some water heated by the fire from Uni and drank it in one gulp. Mayuzumi stared at me with eyes full of greed. I was finally feeling refreshed. Then Uni, looking restless, asked me a question.
ココロン、
Hey,
セイ
Kokoro.
ジは一緒じゃないの？
Seiji wasn't with you? Kind of think of it, I hadn't noticed since I was occupied with the cold, but Yomogi wasn't in the shelter cabin.
ヨモギさんは
Where did
どこ行った
Yomogi...
の？
Where did Yomogi-san go?
ココロンを探しに行ったんだよ。
He went looking for you. While holding her hands out toward the fire, Meizumi continued to continue the subject Uni had
あんた
raised.
が飛び出していくから血相変えて出てったわよ。
When you ran out there, he went white as a sheet and
行
left.
き違いになったんじゃない？
Didn't he pass you out there?
そんな。
Oh, no. I took a look out the window. The fierce snowstorm was still raging on, and within it was Yomogi, still looking for me. I forced energy into my legs and staggered to my feet. I headed to the
呼び
door.
に行かなきゃ。
I have to go get
ダ
him.
メ。
Don't. Uni weakly held me back as I tried to open the door.
そんなに弱った体で出てったらダメだよ。
You can't go out in your
今
condition.
度こそココロン死んじゃうよ。
This time Kokoro will die for sure.
マト、セイジを信じよう。
Hey, why don't we wait a little? Why don't we believe in Yomogi? Why don't we believe he sees that dead body, think it's the dead body of Kokoro, and turns back? I crouched down on the floor, making a hollow sound against the boards.
だってこのままじゃ
But as it is,
私のせいでヨモギさんが。
it's my fault that Yomogi-san. Because I did something so reckless, Yomogi might become a victim too.
ヨモギさん。
Yomogi-san. I want him to come back soon. As if laughing at me for thinking that, the storm grew stronger. After a while, all of a sudden the sound of the storm ceased.
Yeah.
Say, the fire on the stove had gone out long ago. Mayuzumi, who was back in her own bed, craned
な
her
ん
head.
かあったかくない？
Isn't it kind of warm? I wonder. I felt nothing at all. My body was nearly ceased to feel differences in temperature. Was it because I had stayed out too long in a cold place? I felt cold wherever I was. My still shivering body was proof of that.
吹雪が止んだからじゃない？
Could the storm have let up? Mayuzumi inclined her neck repeatedly. No, who cares about that? Now that the storm had let up, I have to go look for Yomogi. I tried to stand. The instant I moved, my legs
ココロン
buckled.
ダメだよ、無理しちゃ。
Kokoro, it's useless. Don't push yourself. I realized that I was weaker than I
で
thought.
もヨモギさんを。
But Yomogi-san. Uni laid a blanket over my shoulders.
吹雪が止んだんだからセイジもすぐ戻ってくるよ。
The storm has let up. Seiji will come back soon.
だから待とう。
Right, so let's wait for him, okay? What Uni said was right. What I'm wondering is if you turn around sooner, whether or not Yomogi was out for so long, and he's actually here. Rather than acting foolishly and adding a further tragedy to what we have to bear, it was better to wait. Yomogi is a pro when it comes to mountains. He'll definitely be alright. Of course he will. But, even after waiting an astonishingly long time, Yomogi didn't come back. Okay, God descends to the new world. I continued staring at the face of my wristwatch, which ticks very loudly apparently. The second hand continued to carve away the seconds, one after another. Inside the cabin, silent as the grave, only the sound of the hand's movement could be heard. Yomogi had yet to return.
帰ってこないね。
Seiji hasn't come back yet, huh? Uni, who had been encouraging me until only a while ago, had sunk into a deep depression. Uni was worried after all. In any case, he's much too late. Did something happen to Yomogi? Although I don't want to believe anything happened. If he did meet with some misfortune, it would be my fault. Feelings of inconsolable guilt began to tear apart my body as I thought of that. Well, it's his fault for going after you when you told him not to, so... We didn't directly, but she said, I'll just be back. I grasped my watch with both hands. If the newspaper was right, then the time at which the avalanche would occur was quickly approaching. If I remember correctly, it was 6:53. Not even 2 hours left. I'll take slightly under an hour to get to location X, no matter how much I hurry. If Yomogi had some accident that left him unable to move, and if his condition led him to seek help at location X, it won't make it useless. It won't make it useless I leave this cabin right now. The if is missing. That was just a typo, basically. Yomogi would get caught up in the avalanche and die. My body had more or less warmed up and even got to drink something warm. However, there's no guarantee I'll make it back again if I headed for location X, even if I'd warmed myself up. Decomposed bodies. It had been confirmed that the 3 bodies had sustained a large number of lacerations, believed to have been caused by an avalanche they were caught up in soon after surviving the crash. I went over that sentence from the newspaper in my mind. That body. I clutched at my head. What do I do? What should I do? Hey Satoru, what would you do? We might just find out. Something must be wrong with me trying to rely on Satoru at a time like this. But if it were Satoru, he'd be able to come up with the best course of action while maintaining his composure. How do you know? You don't know what he's been doing when he's in your body, though. He's been walking outside for seemingly no reason. To me, Satoru was a person who I could put my confidence in. Satoru. What should I do? Uni was hugging his knees and crying.
死んじゃう。
Seiji's going to
こ
die.
のままじゃ死んじゃう。
At this rate, you'll die. Uni's words were the trigger. That's right. What was I hesitating for? Let's all return together. Not leaving a single person behind to die, we'll all return together. That's what we promised. And besides, if it was Yomogi who brought me to this cabin right after the crash while I was still unconscious, these past 7 days he had saved us time and again. If he hadn't been here, we probably wouldn't have survived this long. It's true that there were no guarantee I'd be able to return safely even if I left now. But hadn't Yomogi gone out in order to save me, even though he himself wasn't certain that he'd be able to return safely? For me to abandon him despite
そんな
that,
ことできないよ。
I can't do such a thing. This time I'll be the one to save him. I stood up once again, full of spirit. Once on my feet, I checked over the state of my body. My feet weren't unsteady. They were supporting my body properly. It's okay. I can walk. After confirming that, I walked to the door.
ちょっと
Wait,
どこ行くの？
where are you going?
よもぎさんを探してきます。
I'm going to look for Yomogi-san.
無茶よ。ここで待ってるべきだわ。
That's crazy. We should just wait here.
ココロ、ダメだよ。
Kokoro, don't do it.
ありがとう。ユニのおかげで温まった。
Thank you, Uni. It was because of you that I was able to warm up.
眉住さんとユニはここを動かないで。
Meizumi-san and Uni, you two stay here and don't go anywhere. Saying only that, I open the door. And we're gonna do this all over again. We're gonna walk outside all over again.
呼んでる。
This plot just keeps repeating this. The snow has stopped falling. The snowstorm that had worried us continuously had stopped as if it had never existed to begin with. It began to grow brighter from the east. The settling new snowstorm was convenient for me. It would make it easier to spot Yomogi as well. It's like this. I might reach the area 1 kilometer east of the cabin, location X, more quickly than before. Yomogi must be somewhere between here and that place. Yomogi-san, please be safe. Praying with all my might, I took my first step into the snow. I arrived at the gentle upslope leading all the way to the summit and began running up it. It was the second time today, and on top of that, my physical strength was nearing its limit, so I quickly ran out of breath. The gentle slope felt long and endless. I tripped on the snow and fell countless times, but even so, I continued to advance, as if crawling. I turned my head toward the voice and saw Yui and Mayuzumi following me. They had probably flown out here in a panic, as Mayuzumi wasn't even wearing a coat.
待ってよ。
Wait up!
来ちゃダメ。
Don't follow me!
小屋に戻って。
Get back to the cabin. As those two went to location, if those two went to location X as well, then this would all be meaningless. It'll be just like what was written in the newspaper.
戻りなさい。
Go back right now. This is like the Never 7 type of thing, where you try to avoid the same thing happening again, and it just happens again anyway. I shouted at them as forcefully as I could, and once again began climbing fiercely up the slope. The sky above the outline of the ridge was dyed a light orange. It's dawn, I have to hurry. As if whipping my own body onward, I was somehow able to climb to the top of the slope. Unable to stand any longer, I crouched down, almost falling over. My heart was beating furiously and my chest felt very tight, as though the claw of an eagle was gripping it. Closing my eyes, I hurriedly tried to control my breathing. I wiped the sweat from my
急
brow.
がなくちゃ。
I've got to hurry.
休んでる暇なんてない。
I don't have time to be resting. I yelled in a hoarse voice, trying to cheer myself on. I swallowed my saliva to help moisten my dry throat. I put strength into my numb and shaking legs, raised my head slowly, opened my eyes, and looked up at the path ahead of me. Sorry for not saying anything. I'll read the text. Before my eyes was an ocean stretching across the horizon. The smell of the tide was carried on the wind. Is this an illusion? Even though it was an illusion, the smell of the tide tickled my nose. White waves surged towards the coast. Water was all I could see across the horizon. And from there, the first rays of the sunrise were beginning to peep out. No, this isn't an illusion. The rays of the rising sun shine dazzlingly upon my body. Eh? Did I transfer? Thinking that, I turned my head. Behind me, there was a large circular depression in the ground in the shape of an earthenware bowl. There was nothing resembling a mountain to be seen anywhere. In the middle of the depression was the cabin we had been staying in. Oh, so it's like one of those kind of things. Yuni and Mayuzumi were trying frantically to catch up with me. I hadn't transferred. I was still at Mount Agakura. I didn't switch bodies either. I'm still Fuyukaga Kokoro right now. But what is this? Fake mountain? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this ocean? When I headed to location X just a few hours ago, there's no ocean like this here. If you climb to the top of the summit, it was supposed to continue in a downhill slope the rest of the way. I'm sure of it. Because I actually went to location X, where I thought the emergency supplies had been dropped. The entire 1 kilometer before location X should have been all continuously snowy mountain. But then why an ocean? First of all, this is Mount Agakura, 1,298 meters above sea level. There shouldn't be an ocean here. There's no way there can be. Thinking logically, no, there's another problem even before that. I'd made a mistake somewhere. Something's wrong, this is crazy. Did this mean that space-time had distorted and that Mount Agakura is now connected to another place? The boundary of the place where we are right now is a complete 180-degree turn from the real world. It's as if another world had appeared out before me. I fell to my knees. The limits of my comprehension had been exceeded. The world is broken. The things I thought were absolute had completely crumbled and disappeared. What was reality? What was fiction? If there was any such thing as reality in this world in the first place, I didn't understand anything.
うわー、海だ。
Whoa, it's the ocean. Before I had noticed, Yuri had caught up with me. Seeing the ocean, his eyes widened.
すっごい！海！
Wow, the ocean, the ocean! His chariot continued running down the slope.
待って！ユニ、待ってよ！
Wait, Yuri, wait.
ダメよ！
Stay away. We shouldn't do anything careless when we don't know what's going on. Yuni ran along the coast.
いいよ。これ。
What is this? This is Danganronpa 2 is what this is. Mayuzumi is in just her suit and completely forgotten about the cold and stood there dumbfounded. Stumbling, she followed Yuni down the slope.
行っちゃダメ！
Stop, stay away. Panicking, I followed the two of them.
まゆずみさん！
Mayuzumi-san. Catching up to Mayuzumi while she was still on the coast, I clung to her.
なんで海が
Why is there an ocean?
わかりません！わかりませんけど！
I don't know, but an ominous premonition, a vague feeling of anxiety. Something was happening, something that couldn't compare to anything that had happened up until now. That was what it felt like.
どういうことよ
What is this? Mayuzumi was now coming closer to me
こ
instead.
こは山の上じゃなかったの
Weren't you on top of a mountain before? Weren't we?
私にもわかりません！
I don't know either.
すっごく冷たいよ！本物の海だよ！
Hey, it's really cold. It's the real ocean. Yuni shouted in surprise as he scooped up water from the beach.
ダメよ！ユニ！触っちゃダメ！
Don't, Yuni, don't touch it. Why I thought you shouldn't touch it, I didn't understand myself. Anyway, I didn't know its true nature. That is why I felt like we shouldn't get near it.
ねえ！戻りましょう！とにかく一度、小屋に戻りましょうよ！
Hey, let's go back, okay? At any rate, we should go back to the cabin again.
何言ってんの
What do you say?
海岸沿いに歩いていけば街に出られるわよ
To walk along the coast, we should reach the town eventually. She's just like accepting it.
なんでもっと早くそれに気づかなかったのよ
Why didn't I notice something like that sooner? Like, why didn't I notice this ocean?
あんな寒い小屋で1週間も
We spent an entire week in that freezing cabin.
バカみたいじゃない
Now we look like fools. I frantically shook my head.
違うの！
No, that's not. There wasn't an ocean here just a few hours ago.
違うのよ！
That's not it. Mayuzumi suddenly gasped.
まさか
It can't be.
あのおっさん一人で逃げたんじゃ
Did the old man escape by himself?
だから違うの！
I told you that's not it.
何が違うのよ
What is
こん
it?
な海、ついさっきまでなかったのよ！
This ocean wasn't here just a moment ago. Perhaps pressured by my frantic appearance, Mayuzumi tilted her head, a dubious expression on her face.
じゃあよもぎさんはどこへ行ったの？
But where did Yogomi-san go? What? That's right. Where did Yogomi go? Did Yomogi go? Where had Yomogi gone? Yomogi had followed me to location X and never returned. And now, location X had disappeared. Now, stretching in front of my eyes, there was an ocean. Where did Yomogi go? It couldn't be. Is he somewhere in this ocean?
嘘でしょ？
That can't be, right? Frightened, I stumbled and fell onto the snow. Because if anything had happened to Yomogi, it would be my fault. At that
誰か来る
moment,
よ。
someone's coming. My head shot up in response to Yui's voice. Along the coast, I saw the silhouette of a person running towards us. He was still far away, so I couldn't see him that well, but there's no mistaking it, it had been Yomogi. Feeling relieved deep down inside, I stood up. I started dashing toward the silhouette. Yomogi-san! I shouted at the top of my lungs as I ran. I ran. The sunrise shone in on us. The sunlight was strong enough to blind me. Violet waves were drawn in from the sea. Violet, not violent. No, violent. Yes. And silver white snow sparkled in the sunlight. The silhouette approached me within the glittering sunlight. Little by little, the outline of the silhouette became clearer. And then I suddenly realized
よ
it.
もぎさん、あんなロングコート着てたっけ？
Had Yomogi-san worn such a long coat? Not only that, was Yomogi that slender?
よもぎさん？
It's the guy that was stabbed. Yomogi-san. My feet stopped their forward charge. As I shielded my eyes from the sunlight with one hand, my eyes suddenly froze on what they saw. You are... No. His name was No, apparently. That isn't Yomogi. Oh, it's auto-scrolling. That's... A... I gulped. Did I accidentally put on auto? My voice shook. How do I get off auto? Okay. What?
あなた！
Person who shouldn't be here. Person who shouldn't be here.
サトル！
Okay, is it gonna stop auto-scrolling on me? No, it's not. It's still autoing. The one whom I always wanted to see. The one whose words I wanted to hear spoken in my own voice. Stop autoing. Even though we hadn't spoken even once, I felt like he was the person I was closest to escape. A partner who was more reassuring than anyone. A companion who I could believe in more than anyone. A friend I felt closer to than anyone. I had always wanted to meet him. Wait. But it can't be real. There's no way this could really be happening. We shouldn't be able to meet here. What button did I hit? He was someone who shouldn't be here. Yukito Satoru. He existed right before my eyes. How do I get out of this? He was almost as if he were a Deus Ex Machina. To me, this was an event equivalent to a miracle from God. Satoru had stopped running and was now standing in front of me, staring at me and holding his breath. Okay. Still going. Satoru and I stood on the beach, gazing at each other's faces at disappointment. Why?
なんでサトルがここに？
Why are you here, Satoru? Okay, just don't stop. I was barely able to get those words out. Is the Satoru standing in front of me? Is the Satoru standing in front of me the real thing? Is what I'm looking at right now real? In this world, real? Okay, I gotta close out the game, sorry. Yes. Okay, that's bad. I have to retrace my steps there. Oof. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what I hit. I hit some control that caused auto here. Let me, continue. Load the save.
もっとももう僕たちには下山できるだけの体力は残ってないけどね。
So, J is it?
そうですか。
Advance. That's control. Okay, backlog. Okay, this is skip. Okay, so 5 is a skip. 4 does nothing. 7 does nothing. 8 does nothing. 9 does nothing. Slash does nothing. Star is a skip. Minus. I have a feeling minus is a good skip. Plus is jump to the next. Okay. Okay, so plus is fast forward. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but it was like auto going, and I might have accidentally triggered it. Keep going. Turn back. Okay, so okay, so I'm gonna forcibly skip through this. See the woman. Warm up. Side. Okay, we bounce, go forward. We have a conversation with Mayuzumi.
うわー。いっちゃダメ。まゆずみさん。わかりま。
ここは
私に。ダメよ。
海岸沿い。あんなバカみ。
違う。だから
何が
こんな。
じゃあ
嘘でし。誰か来る。よもぎさん。あなた。
Yeah, let's see if it goes into some silly auto thing. No? It goes into this auto. Okay, that's just how the game works, I guess. That's not good. Hopefully I have time to read this. Doesn't respond to any control inputs.
サトル。
I'm probably not going to read the lines just because I can read them in my head faster than I can read them out loud. And if I read them out loud, I won't finish them in time, and then I won't get the lines. So I'll just let it roll with my voice kind of not going. はあ、メタ。
なんでサトルがここに。
そうか。やはりそういうことなのか。
サトル、ねえ、どうして。
話は後だ。急がないと大変なことになる。
大変って。
お前たちはここで待ってるんだ。
どこ行くのよ。
ついてくるな。
Okay, so that was the credits. They were not translated to English. They were left in Japanese. If you know how to read katakana, then that might be a lot of practice in reading katakana words. Although I didn't really try that hard. The only one I could pick out was project, but I picked out project. Anyway, the music that was over top of that sounded very distinctly like the style of Takeshi Abo. It was very similar to other in-credit musics he's done. So I'm probably going to have to mute it because of copyright. So that's probably all going to be silent. I might have like popped in the future and said something like as the editor in there, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not, so it might not have happened. I don't know. Yeah. Of course, as usual, even if you turn the music volume to 0, the music still plays on the credits. And we have an extra after credit scene. July 20th. Weather. Sunny. This is July 20th. Interesting. I notice we're not on
眩しい陽光が風鈴の音が子供たちのはしゃぎ声が夏を彩っている。
Notice that we're not on auto anymore. I don't know why it was compulsory auto. That's not very good game design. The dazzling sunlight, the sound of the wind chimes, the noises of children playing, they all help to brighten up the summer.
こうしていると雪山にいたことが悪い夢だったように思える。
With all this around me, it feels like being trapped in the snow-covered mountains was just a nightmare.
あまりにも過酷な真冬の夜の夢。
Painful, cruel nightmare that one has on a night in the dead of winter.
しかし確かに私は飛行機の墜落事故に巻き込まれ
But I really was involved in a plane crash.
遭難して1週間を避難小屋で過ごした。
And stranded for a week inside the shelter cabin.
そのことを今も私の足に小さく残る凍傷の跡が物語っている。
A small wound from the frostbite which still remained told the truth loud and clear.
そして私は人格交換も体験した。
And then I had also experienced personality exchanges.
私はスフィアにも同時に存在したのだ。
As a result, I am also in Sphia at the same time. I was also in Sphia at the same time. I got worried there. I thought that she was put in Sphia. It's like, no, was in Sphia. I read it wrong.
白チュームでも妄想でもないと今ならばはっきりと言える。
I can clearly say now, those weren't just my delusions, nor was I daydreaming.
あの悪夢のような1週間。
A nightmarish week.
私はあの小屋にいて、そしてスフィアにもいた。
I was in that cabin, and I was also in Sphia.
ユにも、よもぎさんも、まゆずみさんも、
Just like Yuni, Yomogi-san, and Meizumi-san.
うつみさんも、ほとりちゃんも、
Just like Utsumi-san and Hotori-chan, too.
サトルも、
Just like Satoru.
確かにそこにいた。
We were all really there.
ここに新聞記事がある。
I have a newspaper article with me here.
あの避難小屋にあった記事と同じものだ。
It's the same one as the one in the cabin. I have to write that down. July 20th is the date of the after credit scene. That's important.
もう一度読んでみよ
I'll read it one more
う。
time.
今年1月、青森県赤倉岳に HAL18 便が墜落し、27人が死亡した事故に関連して、
This is gonna be some like, do you get it now sort of thing? Let's see if I can get it now. The Aomori Prefecture Police announced the recent discovery of the remains of 3 men and woman So just 3 men and woman on Aomori's Mount Akakura. Okay.
青森県警は新たに男女3人の遺体を収容したことを発表した。
Believed to be the victims of the crash of flight HAL-18, which claimed 27 lives this January.
収容された遺体はすでに死後6ヶ月が経過しているために不乱が激しく、まだ身元をはっきりと断定できていないとしながらも、
As they had undergone extensive decomposition over a period of 6 months, the identities of the bodies are unclear. And that sticks out to me because the dead body that Kokoro saw on the mountain hadn't been extensively decomposed. Nor would you necessarily expect them to be really extensively decomposed because they would freeze. You would argue that maybe as the months pass, as you approach July, the discovery of the body time, that the weather warms up and the bodies would melt and then would be allowed to decompose. It's interesting that they said extensive decomposition, but the body Kokoro found was not decomposed.
HAL-18 便に乗っていた乗員乗客のうち、未だ発見されていなかった残る3人にほぼ間違いないとしている。
They are assumed to be the last 3 undiscovered among the missing passengers and crew members of HAL-18. But maybe they didn't discover them. They discovered dead bodies that were already there, such as the one that Kokoro saw. In other words, the dead body she saw was misidentified as her.
遺体はいずれも赤倉岳避難小屋から東へ 1km 離れた場所で見つかっており、
The bodies were discovered 1 kilometer east of the Mount Akakura shelter cabin.
遺体には雪崩に巻き込まれた際に受ける裂傷も多数確認されていることから、3人は墜落直後は生存していたものと考えられる。
It has been confirmed that the 3 bodies, which sustained a large number of lacerations in an avalanche days after the crash, are those of the survivors.
しかし発見場所は下山ルートからは離れているため、遭難者の死亡当日の足取りについて青森県警では調査を進めている。
However, due to the bodies of the victims being discovered far down the mountain, the Aomori Prefecture police investigation to the day of their death will continue.
青森気象観測所によると、
According to the Aomori Meteorological Station,
この時期に赤倉岳の該当箇所周辺で発生した雪崩は2011年1月17日午前6時53分であることが分かっている。
an avalanche affecting Mount Akakura and its surrounding area occurred on January 17, 2011, at around 6:53.
赤倉岳避難小屋に残されていた痕跡とも照らし合わせると、3人はおよそ7日間を生き延びたことになる。
After analyzing the traces left at the Mount Akakura shelter cabin, it was concluded that the people survived for 7 days after the crash.
なお、唯一の生存者として楠田由美君11歳が奇跡的に救助されている。
That still can't be explained, right? You could say, okay, here were the bodies that they found. 2 women and a man, right? The 2 women could have been women that had died there previously and their bodies were just sitting there. We don't know. There's 2 people that were misidentified as the 2 women who died, Kokoro and Meizumi. The man could have been the actual Yomogi, because we didn't find, we know he could have actually died. However, they couldn't have mistaken a living Uni for living Uni, wouldn't they?
ユニ君の精神状態は半年を過ぎた今も安定せず、頑なに口を閉ざしている。
Unikun's mental state has not yet stabilized even after half a year. He has yet to speak a single word since. Of course, he's been sent to Sofia as well as a result.
青森県警はユニ君の回復を待って詳しい状況を聞くことにしている。
The Aomori Prefectural Police are still waiting for Unikun's recovery to inquire about the details surrounding the incident.
18便の墜落事故では、今回の3人の遺体の発見により、乗員乗客31人中 30人が亡くなるという大惨事となった。
The horrific crash of Flight 18, with the discovery of the three bodies, claimed 30 lives out of the 31 crew members and passengers aboard.
新たに発見された遺体の身元は以下の通り。
The identities of the newly discovered bodies are listed below.
よもぎ誠司さん、35歳。
Yomogi Seiji-san, 35, and it could be the case.
眉住凛さん、23歳。
Mayuzumi Lin-san, 23. Maybe a mistake. Was Mayuzumi 23 or was she 27? Something makes me think that number's wrong.
冬川心さん、20歳。
Fuyukawa Kokoro-san, 20. That is the correct age.
皮肉にも、救助隊の到着は雪崩の発生から約7時間後だったことを付け加えておく。
It should be mentioned that, ironically, the rescue team arrived just 7 hours after the avalanche.
やーちゃいか。
How is that ironic? They didn't discover the bodies until July 4th, but the rescue team arrived 7 hours after the avalanche at 1:53. Or 13:53, depending on which time you're using. No, it'll be 1:53, which would be... Yeah, huh. I'm a seagull.
私はカモメ。
I am a seagull.
テレシコワの言葉になぞらえて、私は自分自身を公表した。
Using Tarakova's words, that is how I had described myself.
私はカゴメ。
And I am a girl trapped in a cage.
そう。
That's right.
私は確かにカゴメだったのだ。
I was indeed a girl trapped in a cage. Who's that behind you? Chapter 2, Satoru's chapter. Now starting. Unlocked album, promotional flyers, magazine front covers. Okay. Yes. My title screen changed. So, yeah, as I suspected, we will play as Satoru. It seemed like that was going to be the case. So, let's look at this. Extra voice. KID Children's Theater Act. What?
隊長、よもぎ隊長、
どうしたんだユニ隊員。
凄まじい財宝を発見したであります。
何財宝だと。
はい、これであります。
ほほう、これは。
Let's get at it. Get out of there. Okay. I don't understand any of that Japanese. Okay. That if someone who understands Japanese, I'll play those probably in a video eventually. And there's someone that knows Japanese can translate them, or maybe I can find on the internet a blog post or something that has translations of those. Okay. This is probably the end credit music right here. This 5-minute one. Okay. It was this thing in between. Okay, and so we're missing one at the crash site, of course. Still. But we have everything on this page. And so we got Coco chapter, good end, which is number 1, I guess. Number 2, Satoru murdered in the bathroom, end A. Number 5, incident in Sphere, end. Number 12, annihilation, Mayuzumi 3. 13, died without returning, end. 17, location X avalanche, end. And that's it. Okay, whoops. There's more than just endings, right? I also have to worry about scenes. So, all the scenes chronologically, most of the text in each one. Or see if I can find a gap. And after did break out and before a small respite, there's a scene I've missed. And then between a small respite and frightens and is frightened, there's some scenes. Then between disappearing light and a little bit of happiness, there's a scene. Then between a little bit of happiness and man-made miracle, there's a scene missing. Then between God descends to the new world and within the cage, there's a scene missing. It's in the cage being after credits. And then there's no more. Interesting. Whoops. And then tips. Oh, these are just words. Okay, who cares? Now, I'm going to dip in here a bit. So, start. If I hit continue, it's just my saves, right? If I hit, what's shortcut do? Oh, is there like places I can go into? Okay. Interesting. So I presume what I want to do is do new game, and I'm going to do that just to make sure I put a new save, just to make sure the system didn't get saved. Because I remember when it didn't save, and that scared me. So I'm going to start a new game. And I would like to go back and do like all of the text I've missed and like check off all of the paths and see all the bad endings. But for Let's Play purposes, you don't really want to do that yet. I want to go into Satoru. Maybe if I was playing this by myself and not recording, which I never do because I don't really play things and not record them, I might actually try to like exhaust all the Kokoro before I do Satoru. But I would do Satoru.
Yeah, Chaika.
Now let's see if my numpad minus does a good skip. It doesn't skip. Okay.
私はカモメ。
I am a seagull.
これは世界初の女性宇宙飛行士、ワレンチナ・テレシコワの言葉だ。
It won't let me skip. These are the words uttered by the first woman in space, Valentina Tereshkova.
旧ソ連の宇宙船ボストーク6号に乗り込んだ彼女は、一人、完全な静寂と虚無に支配された宇宙空間を漂いながら、
All alone aboard the Soviet Union spaceship Vostok 6, floating in the void of space, a place of complete silence and
その
emptiness,
心もとない孤独感と、
with a hollow feeling of isolation upon her.
同時に全ての束縛から逃れたことによる解放感を一羽のカモメになぞらえて地球の管制官に送ったのだった。
Yet still able to draw the parallel between herself and a seagull to express the liberating feeling of breaking free from everything.
私はカモメ。素敵な表現だと思う。
I am a seagull. Such beautiful words.
私にはそんな気の利いた言い回しは思い浮かばない。
If it were me, I never have been able to come up with something so
少
clever.
々の皮肉を込めて言い表すとするなら、さしずめ、私はカゴメとでも言ったところだろうか。
I'm not going to read these out loud until I get to a new line. So I'm just going to kind of progress and just kind of let the audio play.
狭いカゴの中に閉じ込められた一人の女の子。私は今、天国に一番近い場所にいる。 高度33000フィートの空の上に。
かごめかごめ、かごの中の鳥はいついつでやる。夜明けの晩に鶴と亀が滑った。後ろの正面だれ。
Still won't let me skip. But I'm not going to like read these lines to myself. I'm not going to just fast forward them by force using like numpad star or something. I'm just not going to read them out loud.
後ろの正面だれ。後ろの正面だれ。
Okay. But these, I'm going to pick the same thing as I did before.
そうね。ここは雲の上だから、天使さんがいたずらでもしに来たのかな。
うわ、何それ。親父ギャグですか。寒ー。へへへ。ウィス、こんち。
ごめん、お姉ちゃん忙しいんだ。退屈なのはわかるけど、遊ぶんならママに相手してもらってね。
ママなんていないよ。
じゃあ、パパは？パパの席はどこ？ってことは、まさか一人で？君、小学生だよね。
うん。
へえ、小学生なのに一人で飛行機に乗れちゃうなんてすごいじゃない。
すごくなんかないよ。
いくつなの
11。5番目の素数だよ。僕、素数が好きなんだ。因数を2つだけしか持たないから。1つでも3つ以上でもなく。お姉ちゃんは素数じゃないね。お姉ちゃん、20歳でしょ。
なんで知ってるの？
さあ、なんでだろうね。僕、楠田由に。よろしくね。
Got the italicized I again. I believe this is Satoru speaking. That's why it's blue, you see, on the sides. So he can get to the clock tower, which is on Sphia, I believe. There still might be something in this number, I'm not sure.
有機動悟る。
ねえ、 どうして年齢が分かったのか教えてよ。
I just kind of noticed how it locked behind him when he went through. That might matter.
ふふ、すごいでしょ。超能力かもね。
とぼけてないで教えてよ。
そうだな。教えてあげてもいいけど、その代わり一つだけ頼みたいことがあるんだ。
頼みたいこと？
僕ギュンっていうのが苦手なの。ギュンってするときあるでしょ。
は？
わかんないかな。着陸の時とかに急激に高度が下がってギュンって重力がなくなる時あるじゃん。
それで？
だからね、この飛行機が着陸態勢に入ったら手繋いでってもらえないかな。
そのぐらいならいくらでも。
本当に？
とはいえ、私の体に触れることができる男の子なんてめったにいないんだからね。ありがたく思いなさいよ。で、正解は？年齢が分かった理由、教えてくれるんでしょ？
うん。これだよ、これ。これがココロンの髪の毛についてたから。
ダビデは琴を弾いていた。サウルの手には槍があった。サウルは槍を投げつけて、私はダビデを壁にでも。俺はダビデを突き刺してやる。たとえ再びかわされようと。
羽？
そう、羽。
これが私の髪の毛に？
後ろのところにね。ココロン、昨日お風呂入らなかったでしょ。
失礼ね。ちゃんと入ったわよ。
嘘だ。
どうしてそんなことで嘘つかなきゃならないの？
だってココロンのまぶたちょっと腫れてるから。寝不足なんじゃないの？ね？
確かに、あんまり寝てないのは事実よ。だけど、それとこれとどういう関係があるの？羽と年齢の話は一体どうなっちゃったわけ？
まあ、焦らない。ちゃんと順を追って説明していくからね。まず日付の確認からしておこう。今日は西暦何年の何月何日何曜日だっけ？
2011年1月11日火曜日。
オッケー。じゃあ昨日は何の日だった？
1月10日月曜日。成人の日。
さてと、そこでこの羽の登場だ。 女の子が振袖を着るとき肩にかけるショール、その素材の中でも最もポピュラーなのがフェザー、ホワイト、そしておそらくは僕の手のひらに乗っているこの羽も。あとは言わなくてもわかるよね。
つまり私は昨日振袖を着て成人式に出席したってこと？その時肩にかけてたショールの羽が取れて私の髪についた。
成人式といえば小学校や中学校で机を並べた旧友たちが一堂に会すビッグイベントでしょ。初恋の男の子が見違えるほどブサイクになってたり、あんまりパッとしなかった女の子が妬ましいぐらいに綺麗になってたりして、ともかくそんな開口が次から次へと訪れることによって出席者の誰もが心を弾ませ身を躍らせることになる。同様に当時の心も激しい高揚感に包まれていたであろうことは想像に難くない。そんな浮ついた恍惚状態の最中、式を終えたココロンはかつてつるんでいた仲良しグループに誘われるがまま二次会へと赴いた。誰はばかることなく堂々とアルコールが飲める年齢ということもあったのだろう。二次会はやがて三次会となり、三次会は四次会へ、四次会は五次会へ。気がつけば東の空が明るくなっていた。結果ろくに眠ることもできず、まぶたは赤く腫れ上がり、シャワーを浴びる余裕もなく、ココロンは襟足に羽をつけたまま慌ててこの飛行機に飛び乗ったってわけ。どう？当たりでしょ。
はあ、一枚の羽からよくそんな妄想が思いつくわね。
妄想？これは妄想なんかじゃないよ。極めて論理的な推理さ。
なるほど、自信満々だ。
まあね。
だけどその極めて論理的な推理ってやつは残念ながら大外れだよ。
え？
だって私2月生まれだもん。成人式は去年やっちゃったんだ。
嘘！じゃあこの羽はなんで心の髪についてたの？
さあね。
さあねって。
あ、でもここは雲の上だし、もしかしたら天使の羽かもね。
天使の？天使なんているわけないじゃん。
そうかな。
そうだよ。
まあいずれにせよガチョウの羽だって解釈するよりはロマンティックでしょ。
ココロンはロマンティックかどうかで事実を判断するの？
時にはね。
論理的な根拠なんてどうでもいいんだ。
だから時にはって言ったじゃない。論理的に証明できることだったらそれを信じるし、証明できないことだったら私は。
This is how you're supposed to explain the entire plot of this game.
ロマンティックな方を選ぶ？
そういうこと。
So, in the end, they're gonna have to have a choice, and the option they should pick is gonna should be the most romantic, right?
ねえ、ココロン。この羽、もらってもいい？
いいけど、そんなものもらってどうするの？
記念にするんだ。
記念？
そう、記念だよ。ココロンと出会ったことを忘れないようにするための。
もうかわいいな、こいつこいつ。苦しいよ。
死ぬってば、マジでっていうか、メガネ折れっから
It's the first scene name. Doesn't let me skip.
悪くない。悪くない天気だ。そろそろだな。
I need to write down something happens at 4 p.m.
「機長より乗客の皆様にお知らせいたします。当機はこれより乱気流の中を通過いたしますので、乗客の皆様は座席にお戻りになり、シートベルトをご着用ください。なお、この先多少機体の揺れることが予想されますが、飛行には影響ございませんので、どうかご安心ください。
あっちゃおう、うりゃー、ブラジリアンハイキック、ブラジリアンハイキック、ブラジリアンハイキックからアルマーダコンマルテーロ。
まあいっか。
So it's the patient who said the shadow has come. Ah, now we know who that elementary student is. She said, "Where is self?" Not the shadow. The shadow is said by a patient. Okay.
犬伏恵子。
ドドーンポッカーズバババブヒュー。
These text boxes are neither red on both sides or blue on both sides. They're just blank on both sides. This is what Inabushi Kaiko actually speaking, using her voice, which you don't hear anywhere in Kokoro's route.
怖
She's a lot younger, though.
いよ。
Do you notice how much younger she is in this? This is not recent at all. Wow, so many things I didn't realize. First of all, I attributed the shadow has come to the wrong person. I thought it was Kaiko herself who said that. No, she said, "Where is self?" Shadow has come was said by a patient. Then this conversation, this person here that is speaking with like a voice, like actually using her voice is not mute, is way younger than the Kaiko we see. You know who this boy is? Whether he's Satoru, the son of Yomogi, Yuni. Since she's a lot younger here, it could have been Satoru. In fact, the cover art and like the opening cutscene suggests it might be Satoru.
違うの。違うんだよ。私が怖いのは、私は、私が怖いんだもん。無理だよ。絶対に無理。 って私はちゃんも殺しちゃうから。
She might try.
心怖いよ。
I don't remember this scene name. It's probably there, I just haven't seen it. I don't remember seeing it. It's like immersed in the lines or something.
ねえ、去年1年間に国内で発生した交通事故による死亡者の数って知ってる？ざっと1万人前後。地震、台風、落雷、雪崩。その他の自然災害によって不運にも命を落とした人の数は128人。水難事故による死者の数は毎年1000人以上。殺人事件の発生件数は平均して年間1250件にも上る。それに対して航空機の墜落事故発生率はというと 0.0001%。 これが何を意味するのかユニくんわかる？つまり地上にいるよりもむしろ空中にいた方が安全だってこと。どう？安心したでしょ？
And the thing is, that boy in that scene, if he was Satoru, you would think that the text boxes would be blue as a subtle hint, right? So maybe it's the guy who got murdered. Like the guy who gets stabbed. Maybe that's who that is. Because she did kill him, did she not? You only thought Satoru did. Wonder why.
待ってろよ。もうすぐだ。もうすぐお前に。
What are you waiting for?
誰だ？
もしも何かあったらこうやってダンゴムシみたいに丸くなるのよ。
もしもってどういうこと？この飛行機落ちちゃうの？墜落しちゃうの？
大丈夫よ。大丈夫だけど念のためね。
やだ怖いよ心
ユニくん、お願いだからお姉ちゃんの言うこと聞いて。ちゃんと自分の席に座ってるの。わかった？
どうして？なんでダメなの？心どっか行っちゃうの？僕を置いてかないで！一人ぼっちにしないで！
どこにも行ったりしないわよ。降ろしてくれって頼んでも無駄だろうしね。
でも
ほら、男の子でしょ。そんな泣きそうな顔するんじゃないの。約束通りちゃんと手繋いでてあげるからね。
誰だ？誰なんだ？
伏せて。
心、怖いよ、怖いよ、助けてよ、心。死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない。
大丈夫。私を信じて。必ず守ってみせるから。